I laugh at the guy who says, these days we say it with chest.
Unasema na kifua.
Yeah. Such a typical Kenyan phrase and makes a lot of sense. There are WhatsApp groups for Formula One.
Yes.
I have been left behind terribly.
Yes.
Because I'm in none.
Nani ndo admin? That's a question. Ama everyone is an admin.
There must be an admin. There must. I know a few people who like Formula One. I didn't know it's quite that big. But that looked like a lot of fun.
Right. And tonight we have a very, very special guest. Wambui, you know, the thing is just trying to understand, of course, watching the Kenyans there, just the interest and the enthusiasm with Formula One. But you've been there. Yes. You've been at a Formula One, but you're there as an official. And you can even see the outfit that you're wearing right now. Just tell us about what you're wearing right now and your role at F1.
Okay. What I'm wearing right now is the Formula One marshal uniform. So all the marshals in the track wear this orange uniform. Then we have the medic, they wear the green uniform. We have the fire people who wear the red uniform. So anytime you see, when you're in the track, you can identify that's a marshal, that's a fire person, that's a medic. So that's how they're able to distinguish who is who. So this is a must wear, and you're supposed to stay with it from morning to evening.
So even in Bahrain with all that heat?
Yes. Yes, Singapore was actually, I think, worse.
Yes.
Humid, it was really, really, really humid. And you just keep hydrating, but you have to keep suited up. Yeah.
So question, how does a young lady from Nairobi find her way into Singapore being a marshal at a Formula One race?
Yes, for me, I'll say actually it's like a full circle moment because in our local motorsport scene, I started as a marshal in Safari Rally 2011. So I've been involved in motorsports in Kenya. So this opportunity came about. There's the new FI President Mohammed is trying to really include ladies in Formula One because it's mostly men who are there. Even the current drivers, they're all men. So what happened is they launched a program through the FIA, which is the World Motorsport Governing Body, together with the Women in Motorsport and the VOC, the Volunteers Official Committee. And what they wanted is to have an exchange program where they'll have ladies to come and experience Formula One. And they were not particular because you see, like Kenya, we don't have Formula One. But what they wanted is if you've been involved in your local country as a motorsport lady, you could apply. And then, yeah, we just got to, we applied, and then they needed some documentations from us, like from our federation, which here is KMSF. We got some, they needed an official license. You have to show that you've been officiating, and you need an objection letter so that you're not blacklisted here and then you're going to an international event. So once you have that, they did the vetting process. So out of 300 applications, 24 of us got through. And we were 24 ladies from all over the world, and 4 from Africa. We had ladies from Kenya, myself, Zambia, Tunisia, and South Africa, and then the rest were from other countries.
So how does it feel when you get into Singapore? Because we watch it on TV and it looks huge. It looks like a lot of work goes into it. How does it feel to actually be part of it?
It was surreal because things you see on TV, they're here, you know. Myself, I just watch Formula One from my house, or at times I go to paddock experience. And, you know, you're used to screaming at your favorite driver. But now as a marshal, you're non-partisan. So your favorite driver is here and you're like, you can't say anything.
You're scream Danny.
You're scream Danny. You can't take autographs, photos, you know, those are the rules. So it was a different experience, but one that if you get a chance, just do it because you get to interact with everyone, you know. And you know, Formula One is the cream of motorsport, yeah. So there are all these teams, there are all these there is directors, the stewards, there are all these people from other countries, and being at the track itself. Wow, it was, you know, pinch me. It was a pinch me moment. And yes, you see, for us, we were faster, and you know, you're seeing the cars passing you. So I thought that it would be a very good time to watch. But you actually don't know. A car passes, you're like, wait, which car is that? Which number is that? But you know, it's very different when you're watching from home because you can see the drone footage. Yeah. But now and they're so fast. So you're like, what's happening? Which car is that? And the one thing that was very, very different. Like when you're watching from home, you know, at times the race is so heated and you're like, we need a yellow flag so that, you know, the race can batch up. But when you're on the track, the marshal is really doing some crazy work, you know, like flagging the flag. and there's so much, you need to be very, very alert because those cars are fast. So if you're told you need to wave a yellow flag, you can't be, you know, you're not alert. If it's a red flag, you have to be very careful because you can imagine if you raise a red flag and you stop the entire race, the entire world will come at you. So it was a challenge, and of course, as you say, the heat. So standing for long hours, and like I thought you're just going for the Formula One. You know, we'll just sit and wait for the races because they were late at night. But you're in the track like at 10. So I was like, wow, we're at the track at 10.
10 in the morning?
Yes.
Okay, and the race was at what time?
The race is like 8. I think Singapore was 8. Yeah, night race. Yeah, it's at night.
10 hours before the race starts.
Yes. So you think.
So what happens between that time before the race starts?
Exactly. So what happens is there were other, like Singapore, there were other races going on. There was the women's series, and there was also another series called the TSS. It's like an Asian circuit series. So they were coming to showcase in Singapore. So we still have to get involved as a marshal. You still have to do the flagging. And then in between races, you think that, okay, now we can see it. No, actually they call it when the track is hot. So what happens is probably there's a truck going around giving water, media shuttles, because media points, the media people have to be moved from one point to another. So you're still attentive because you have to keep flagging in case there's a car on the track. So really, you're on your feet half the time, but we were rotating. So yeah, it was quite an experience. But we also got to experience other parts of the track, not just the track. We went to the pit lane, which was quite something. And we went to the medical center. Like they made sure that we had an all-round experience despite the short period of time. They kept rotating us, so which was quite something. Yeah.
You see, it's when we see it from TV, like you said, because you know, sometimes when you see some things on TV, I'll tell you this, my only experience with maybe seeing Superstardom, when you see Usain Bolt run, on the track, he actually at times doesn't look as fast. And then when you sit on TV, you realize, oh, that man was flying. You say it's the opposite. Like when you're watching it on TV, when you sit in real life, it's actually faster. So do you enjoy it more when you're on TV, or do you enjoy it more when you're watching it in real life?
I think it's both, because you know, on TV you're seeing everyone, you can see who is following who, but as a marshal you're only seeing, you know, one car passing. And like I'll tell you, in a marshal cage you're like two people, so there's one holding the yellow flag and another one like...
Which flag were you holding?
The yellow.
Okay.
And there's like a red flag or blue flag. So I'm facing this way. So my eye is at the other flag cage on that side, and my partner, the flag cage, is on that side. So if an accident happens before me, I do a yellow, but the other person will do a green because there's nothing ahead of me. So you have to really coordinate. So there's no time to. That's what you say. I say you don't see cars because your eye is there. Basically, you're actually watching your flag cage on the other side.
So you don't even know what happened?
No, actually, after the race, that's when you're like, oh, what was happening? Because, you know, you're just watching there and listening. You know, you have radio marshals. Like the blue flag is very technical because it means you're being lapped. So, because we can't see who's coming, so the race control has to tell us, blue flag, Bernard, you know. So I have to really wait, and then they tell me now. So you have to be, so you have to be alert. Like,
Wakabi, I'll tell you for a fact, I was privileged.
You have been to a Formula One. What was your experience? Similar?
Yes, what was similar to hers was the fact that I could only see a blur.
Yes.
And that was 2016. I was at the Yas Marina circuit. And you remember it was very interesting because it was the final round, and it was Nico Rosberg versus Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton, yeah.
So let me tell you, you see nothing. Like personally, if I was to get a chance, maybe go to an F1 for the experience, for the atmosphere. But to watch it, I'd rather watch it on the big screens. I know that in some of in the circuits, the big screens you're able to follow. But Okabi, you don't see anything.
It's quick.
It's quick. Tap.
And then the noise?
The noise is something else.
Oh, it's
amazing. How do you cope with that? How do you cope with the noise? Noise cancellation headphones and now monitoring and then the sound and all those things. How do you?
It was a challenge because yes, we had you can wear the headphones, but only the radio marshal is allowed to have the headphones so that the radio marshal can communicate with race control. So you, the other person who doesn't have the headphones, you have to just, because you need to hear when you're being like told there's a red flag. So if you have earmuffs, You can't hear.
So how do you, like, but there was communication
Yes,
somehow.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll, you know, they were like aligned. So if it's a red flag, they'll tell you red flag, they'll shout like red flag, so you can hear. But it's a challenge. The noise is but I think after like the first laps, 2 laps, you get used to it. The
How many
adrenaline
marshals
pumps.
in total are, like when you guys are there, like how many of marshals are roughly?
Roughly, like in Singapore, we were roughly around 1,600 in total.
That's
Yes.
just marshals.
That's marshals.
And it's the different levels of marshals.
Yes, yes. These are
Okay.
different levels. Like you see, like there are the radio, you know, there's the flaggy. There are people who, I can't remember the name, but when there's an accident, they go collect the
debris,
sweepers, the debris. So you're all arranged, and then you can keep rotating. So we were quite many. And just to note, Singapore has the highest rate of retention of volunteers. Their rate is at 97%. Like people don't.
So I hope they have retained you. Fingers crossed.
Yes, we hope so as well.
Yeah, so they have the highest rate. Like getting a space there is next to impossible. That's how passionate the marshals in Singapore are, which is quite something.
What about, let's talk about the pit lane. Again, when we see it on TV, it looks very busy because there's a lot of there's a lot of, shall I call them garages?
Yeah, garage,
Like there's a lot of garages.
Yeah.
How busy is it when you're there? Like how many people are in
It's
a
like a
paddock?
market.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
But an
party-
organized market.
Yes, yeah, like
Yeah.
a high-end,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Lemash
Yes.
kind of thing.
So what you see, it's just the front, yeah? So
Yes.
the service crew, of course, the people who change the tires, and then you have the engineers, and the other people at the back. So like per team, I'll say probably approximately 100 plus, yeah? But not all of them that are at that.
So they are spread out.
Yeah, they're
There's
spread
where
out.
we see the Christian Horners behind
Yes.
and the totals.
Yes.
Then there is the
Then
service
there is
guy,
you see the service guys with the helmets, waiting with tires. Yes. So, and you know, they have to really be synced. So, because when you're told box and you come and you give me a hard tire, that's what. Yeah. So they're really synced, and everyone knows what they're doing. And I think that's F1 for you. You have to have such a high level of organization and synchrony because everything has to flow. Yeah, like in Singapore, they gave us what they called a minute-by-minute book, meaning you know what you're supposed to be doing
You have
at
something
every
there with
minute.
minute by minute.
Yes, this one. It's called a minute-by-minute. So it shows you, like at 120, what you're supposed to be. 121, you know.
Every
like,
minute.
Yes,
From when to when? From morning?
to evening.
So
Yo.
like that, okay, that's fascinating. Because you said you checked in at around 10 p.m.
Yeah.
The race was at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So you have a breakdown of each and every minute.
Yes.
What you should be doing.
Yeah. So this
We are
is-
leaving nothing to chance.
Okay, that's
Yes.
when the race starts.
Yes,
rather.
yes. No, when you're in the truck, so we used to get early in the morning, like now around 10, and then we do sign on at the mastering tent because of insurance purposes. And then after that, we all put in like trucks. You know, these trucks, like the one for carrying breakdown vehicles.
Yes,
flatbeds.
Flatbeds, yeah.
Yeah, so we're putting flatbeds and some buses because you're many, and then you go being dropped at your sector because like Singapore had 23 tons, so there's 23 sectors. So every sector has to have, you know, everyone was assigned. Like myself, the first 2 days I was in sector 10, the second day I was in, the last day I was in sector 20. So everyone is assigned, and then, yeah, so when you get there, you set up, you have your everything, and then now the work starts.
Okay.
So everyone knows what they're doing. So if you need a break, you rotate like that. But you can't leave, you know, like a cage unmanned or a post unmanned until
Minute
the
by
end of the
minute.
day.
Like minute by minute,
Yeah.
all the way from start to finish.
Yes.
Question: what do you think about this hype about Kenya? Like all of a sudden, like you've seen, there are
Yeah.
WhatsApp groups, there are the experiences. What do you think has contributed to Formula One becoming so popular in this country?
For starters, definitely the good series Drive
to Survive.
Netflix.
Yeah.
That really gave people an insight of, oh, this sport is actually, you know, out here. Because, you know, like, I don't know if you remember, a long time, like in restaurants, it's just football.
Yes.
Yeah.
For you to watch Formula One, you have to go to specific places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's how Paddock started, because I think they used to air it, I think at Choices, long time ago.
Yes.
Mbalu used
Yes,
to
at
air
Kachoi,
it. Yeah,
yes.
Kachoi. So, and then now, you know, slowly they've started, he does a very good job of doing the host parties, and people actually show up. And then, as he says, it's like a movement. You know, there's a WhatsApp group, so they're even out of town races, like the the races which are at night, some people go the previous day, or the very early morning races, you go for a sleepover and then you wake up and watch the race together. So right now it's really coming up, and I've actually noticed so many restaurants are showing F1 during race days. So I think, and then of course the very big race in 2021, Hamilton and Verstappen,
Yes.
the title.
The Mercy race.
Yes, the Mercy race.
Yes.
So that one, I think it was the most watched race
Formula One.
ever. Yeah. So yeah. So I think.
Are you a Hamilton fan? Are you in the group that is still annoyed at what happened 2 years ago?
No, but we don't put it in the lungs. But yes, I am a Hamilton fan.
So you're a Hamilton fan?
Yes.
So again, let's come back. Let's come to the question we've asked tonight. People are asking, Aston Martin looked very good.
Wow.
People are surprised with how good they looked.
Yes.
Do you think Alonso can surprise people?
Well, I think he could. You know, he's won 2 championships, so he wouldn't mind going in for a third. And this was his, I think, 99th win. Podium finish. So he wouldn't mind, of course, doing 100. And the car, wow, we were still surprised by Aston. The last 2 seasons, So there is a chance, but I think it was a fast race, Bahrain. So let's see before we get to Silverstone. But Red Bull have the pace. Red Bull have the pace.
Will you get the famous 8th? I know you're looking for the 8th. You want to be the GOAT.
We shall at some point.
When? That look like this year.
We shall.
Wasn't last year.
We shall.
You're confident you will?
We shall get it.
Locally, of course, you're involved in motorsport, and that's one of
Yes.
the main reasons why you are able to travel and represent the country at the Singapore F1.
Yes.
The local rally scene as well, what's your involvement as well?
Okay, currently I'm involved in the African Rally Championship, which actually is next weekend in Wambui. And I'm also involved in the World Rally Championship, Safari Rally, that we have in June. So for those 2, I am usually the Secretary of Stewards. So I usually deal with the FI delegates. When they come, I sit with them, and yeah, I help them during the stewards meeting and the hearings, and basically make their work easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What experiences did you borrow from the Formula One in Singapore, and you'll maybe adopt going for this weekend?
Like a good practice.
Yeah. Best practice. Yes.
Yeah. I think the synergy. It really. I didn't think it's possible to, things to, at times you're running around, but I realized it's actually possible to have everything set and just have the ball rolling. I like the discipline that I saw, and basically just communication, communicating and basically everyone knowing what they're supposed to be doing at what time, so that there's no overlap. Yeah, that one I really, really appreciated. And I think also training more people, because there are so many, we have very many passionate people. Like I said, I started as a marshal back it's a decade ago. So training people, having free trainings here and there, I think that will go a long way in also building our capacity. Yeah, so that if today Bernard is not there, James is there, so that there's no vacuum left. Because I think that's what really helped. I didn't see vacuum in Singapore. And you see, they hadn't hosted the Grand Prix in 2 years. Actually, they were counting. They were at 1,106 days. They held the Grand Prix. So, and when they came back, it was like they never left. So I like that. There was no vacuum. So I think having a committed team and everybody knows what they're doing. There's no overlap, and training more officials. We'll go far. Yeah. So
are we seeing you in an F1 race this year?
I wish, I hope so.
Singapore said they retain 97%.
Yes.
Surely you will be 97%.
It will be my pleasure to go back. Yes.
Thank you so much, Wambui, for joining us and just sharing your own experience at Formula One. Wish you all the best. Hopefully we'll be able to interact with you once again if you go for another F1. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wakabi, I think it's time for us in sport just to get a sense of what you are saying regarding that question that we asked you about Fernando Alonso. Is he the dark horse of the 2023 season? Let's sample some of your sentiments. We should be having them shortly on the screen. That's not the one. That is for... that is... we'll be getting the feedback shortly. Of course, we are asking you what you think. I think our director just wanted to make fun of Manchester United because maybe he's a Liverpool fan. But Peter Kiiru here says, being the guy with the longest career in the Formula One currently, Fernando Alonso still has it in him. And Wakabi's won like about 2 titles. So
here's the thing. I think pound for pound, he's the most talented driver on the circuit.
Yes.
Without a doubt. I'm not talking about the fastest, but also he's a complex character. Because if you see how he did when he started, there was all this hope that he would go on, but then after that, he just seemed to get into complications here and there. Him and Lewis Hamilton, of course, had a falling out. Then he left for Ferrari, and so it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay.
He's that good. The question is whether they can withstand what Red Bull are going to do.
Right, we have them now. Hopefully it's not Manchester United feedback, but let's have a look at some of the sentiments regarding that question that we asked you. Fernando Alonso, can he be the dark horse this season? There we go. This is Jericho Stefan Matera. You say, possibly if no other issues arise throughout the season, it will be interesting to watch him and listen to him on radio.